Welcome to the Increda-dental podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Flynn. Our goal is to make a positive impact in the dental field. I have been a dental assistant, a biller, an office manager, a scheduler, a hygienist, and a dental coach, which makes me your biggest fan. My husband was in the military and we traveled all over the United States. I had opportunities to work in many different practices, and I saw incredible practices and practices that had a lot of potential within them. Thank you for joining us. Let's dive into the podcast. Welcome to the Increda-dental podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Flynn. Today, we're going to speak about something that is rather hard to speak about, but is important to understand the impact it has on your practice. And that is retaining your employees. We've seen a mass exodus of dental professionals and healthcare professionals across the board. And how can we avoid losing these valuable employees? So first off, we need to understand the data. The Society of Human Resource Management, also known as SHRM, give some statistics about what does it cost a practice to have an employee retire or to quit or stop working in their facility. Is what they have done the research is said that based on the advertisement, the time to interview, going through resumes, the training, and that there's a loss of confidence in patients. Patients are less likely to schedule treatment because they're unfamiliar with the new employees and the mistakes often that a new employee makes, as well as the loss of productivity. The cost for a mid-level employee, someone who's making anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a year, the cost to the practice ranges from $5,000 to $9,000 in that first year. Now, if it's a higher paid employee, maybe it's a hygienist or a nurse, and they're making around $80,000 to $90,000 a year, the cost to the practice ranges from $30,000 to $45,000 a year for that loss of that employee. So how can we avoid losing this employee? How can we not have that resignation letter appear on our desk and having that hard check-in? The first thing we need to do is have regular check-ins where we check in with our employees and sincerely ask them, how are things going? Now, this doesn't have to be every day, but I recommend once a week to at least once a month. And having sometimes a code, because it can be very challenging for an employee to say, I'm really struggling, things are hard. And you want to have it where that way the employee can communicate clearly with you how things are going. So I recommend a couple different ways. One of the simplest ways is 10-5-1. 10, I'm doing awesome. 5, things are hard. 1, I'm looking for a new job. Hi, Alicia from Increda-dental. I want to let you know why I started this program, this practice. And that is because I watched my dad with his own dental practice and he struggled tremendously. He invested a lot in himself and his employees and his patients. And he struggled to make a profit, to collect from patients on time, to have people understand the treatment that they needed, to have his staff on board and work as a team. It was a lot of suffering and a lot of pain. And he was practicing until the age of 76. And I don't want his story to be your story. I want you to have joy in your practice, have a practice that you have always dreamed about, and smile going into work and smile coming home, because not only are you profitable, but you're working together as a team and you're providing health for your patients, and you know that they are in the right place because they are with you. So if you'd like to schedule a time, go to Increda-dental.com and we'll talk for a short 15 minutes and see what solutions we can provide, and also if we're a good fit, because I'm not the right fit for everyone and everyone's not the right fit for me, but I want to help dentists to have the practice that they always dreamed about. So head to that website, book a small time frame for me and you, and we'll explore and be creative together. All right, back to the podcast. So you can use that way, and you can use various other ways. You can use a red light, a yellow light, a green light, a yellow flashing light. Things aren't going well. You can use a lot of different ways to communicate. One that I also like to use is bikes. So an e-bike, things are amazing. I'm sailing through life. I have 1 flat tire. It's like a 5. Things aren't going very well. I have 2 flat tires and I am really struggling here. But have a way for your employees to be able to let you know that they're struggling. So that way you can address what's going on. Because if they come to you and they tell you, I have a flat tire and I'm really struggling, you want to find out what's going on. Is it with a patient? Is it with a coworker? Is it a personal life issue? Because what you want to do is address what's going on. You want to find out why they are struggling and if there's something that can be done that you can help them with. This does not mean this is a review. This is not, I'm going to throw money at you. It's not that, because often money's not the issue. Often it can be a coworker or a communication issue that they're having with a coworker or as you as the employer. So you want to find out what's going on. You want to listen, and you want to listen intently, because as you listen, you begin to understand what's going on. And sometimes it's a personal life issue. But regardless, the power of listening to your employees and understanding why they're struggling and what can be done can be very powerful, and powerful to your employees because they feel cared about and they feel heard. So again, this is not a review. This is not a pay raise. This is an opportunity to have better communication with your staff and to see what problem might be circling or raising its head in your practice. And then brainstorm with them if they are ready to solve the situation. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they just need to be heard. But you can brainstorm with them. And what's important to note is if they come up with a recommendation on their own, how to solve a situation, they're more likely to follow through if it comes from them, if it's their own personal suggestion. So if they come up with a resolution, a way to solve the situation, listen to them and then check in on them. Let them know that sounds like a great way to solve the situation. Let's try it out for the next 2 months, and we're going to have regular check-ins to see how to solve this problem. Allow them to work on solving their own problem, but also allow them to be heard by you as an employer, because that's one of the main reasons why employees leave. Sometimes you think it's the money, or that they have more time off, or they're working more, or better health benefits, and it can be for that. But other times, they just want to be heard. They just want to know that they matter to the practice and they're making a powerful impact on the practice, but also on the patients. And by doing this, by having regular check-ins, by having a system to check in and know that you need to spend some time maybe during your lunch hour or at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, and spend 5 minutes talking with your employees, you're more likely to keep them as your employees, saving your practice thousands of dollars. Thanks for joining me. I'm Alicia Flynn.